Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vidvishavai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Gurudeva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Vyapiyat Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. I invoke Shukdev Maharaj, the teacher of the Bhagavatam, and his guru, Vedavyasa, the composer of the Bhagavatam, and all the great saints and sages who have expounded on it and kept it alive. We invoke Sri Krishna in the verse of the Bhagavatam itself. Satchidananda Rupaya Vishnutpatyata Hetave Tapatraya Vinashaya Shri Krishnaya Vayam Namaha. Shri Krishnaya Vayam Namaha. We worship the very Bhagavad book itself and the knowledge that it imparts on us. Can you all hear me? Is it clear? Make it a bit louder. Hari Is that better? Yeah? We'll just close this door so we don't get disturbed. Taking up the Bhagavad is, it's hard to put into words. Great saints and sages like Shukdev Maharaj says that words fall short for them in describing the beauty of the Bhagavad, and so it's really very ambitious for anyone else to be able to praise it and do justice to it. But the Bhagavad and doing the Bhagavad as we are in 7 days is considered a puja in itself, a spiritual journey in itself, and it's considered the most auspicious thing we can do in this lifetime. And I'll be narrating the stories of why that is so. But in order to be able to make this a full, we don't do the pujas here. Very often when Bhagavad is done, pujas are done alongside with it. But we will take a sankalpa in starting the Bhagavatam. And so hold your hand into a fist, your right hand, and place it into your left hand. And with this fist, we indicate a firm resolve. We're strengthening our mind and the thoughts we think as we hold this action. And then the steadying it, stabling it, rooting it, firmly placing it in the hold of the divine. And what we're doing is taking a sankalpa for what we would like to gain as we do this Bhagavatam. And so very often people do the Bhagavatam with a particular wish in mind. They want to gain something, remove obstacles, cure diseases, fulfill wishes, aspirations. But purpose of the Bhagavatam, which will be said again and again and again and again and again and again and again in the Bhagavatam itself, is that Bhagavatam is done to purify us so that we can experience divinity here and now. And so purpose of the Bhagavatam is that. Even though we may do it for other reasons, that's the sankalpa that Santa Mahatma have taken in composing the Bhagavatam. So even though it's the sankalpa I will be making for all of us, you can keep it at the back of your mind if it's not your first sankalpa, although I urge that it is. Whatever else you would like to think of, holding that thought in your mind and then offering it to Krishna in this next moment. Shri Krishna Kanhaiya Lal Ki Jai, Shri Sakranath Maharaj Ki Jai. And so this blessing given to us by the Bhagavatam is narrated with many different stories. And so the first story we see is of Sutta, who is a great rishi, and he's talking to a group of students. And they had wanted to worship the Lord, and they had wanted to be able to revel in this knowledge until they attain divinity itself, until they attain moksha. And so asking where and when would be a good time for this, they went to Bhagwan himself, and Bhagwan gives them a chakra. And so they're walking around in the forest with this chakra, and the instruction is wherever the chakra stops, that's where you should do your puja and your worship to Bhagwan. So this is not a Sudarshan chakra, this is another chakra, and as they're walking around, they come to the Naimesha Aryan. There's many names, and sometimes I will stutter through them, but y'all can know that it was a forest in India. And the chakra stopped moving there, and so they sat down and they did this Mahayagna at this spot. But this chakra isn't anything other than our own minds. And our own minds does this, where it keeps going round and round and round and round. And, sometimes it goes round in so many different things that we are thinking, because we have these to-do lists and we feel very important doing our to-do list. But very often it's going round and round in the same point. Some worry comes into our head and then we just keep rethinking that, or some desire that comes into our head and we keep rethinking that. And when the mind finally stops and in this motion of going around is when we can actually do our puja and our worship. And only then will it be successful, because so often we will sit to do and the mind just keeps rotating, and so we're not truly imbibing. And so that's one of the things. The Bhagavatam starts with this story, and it always starts with this story of the names are fun. There was a very noble person called Atmadev, and he had a wonderfully comfortable life. He had a wife who was called Dumbikarni, and she was a little bit of a troublesome personality in the sense that she fought with absolutely everyone in the village. And she gossiped about everyone in the village, and if people talked about her or left her out of anything, she would, what's the word? She would go to them and she would confront them about how dare you do this, and how can you leave me out, or how can you... And so she became well known in the village as somebody that everybody wanted to avoid, but if you did avoid her, she'd notice and then she'd come and trouble you. So there was no out of the situation. But he was lovely. Atmadev was, so sweet and so noble and so kind and so pious, and then here she was not being all those same qualities. And at one point in time, he thought, my luck is so bad that if I bring a cow to the house, the cow doesn't have a kid. If I bring a tulsi plant to the plant, the tulsi dies and withers away. And I haven't got a child. And so what is life if I don't have a child? And I need to have a child. And nothing's worth it if I don't have a child. And so this is what happens. Life is perfectly fine until one desire comes into our head. And then that desire just keeps playing in our head. And so he goes into the forest, and he is very distraught that he doesn't have a child, and he meets a sannyasi. And the sannyasi had the ability to tell people's fortune by reading their palms and reading. And so he says, really you don't have the destiny to have a child in this life. And actually, to tell you honestly, you don't have the destiny to have a child in the next 7 lives. So just give up this desire and you'll be fine. And then he's, more heartache. Not even 7 lives, I'm not going to have a child. And then so distraught about, why? I really, really want a child. And how can you say this? And how can you think I'll be fine with not having a child? And so begs the sannyasi, please help me and please make this better. And so, and the sannyasi sits him down and gives him the highest knowledge, that attaining desire does not bring happiness. I'm going to repeat this. Attaining desire does not bring happiness. Why? Because when we attain desire, the desire will be enjoyed for a small, brief period of time. Yeah? Renouncing desire brings happiness. Why? Because when I renounce the desire, now I'm happy all the time. Get it? Happy for a short time, renounce the desire, and I'm happy all the time. And so the sannyasi tells him very clearly that this is truth. This is not me trying to make you feel better that you can't have a son, so be happy without the son. No, this is the truth. Renouncing desire brings happiness. Fulfilling desire will bring pleasure for a short amount of time. And so it is far more beneficial for you to let go of this desire. But no, I want a son, I want a son, I want a son, I want a son. And so then the sannyasi, out of compassion, says, okay, fine. And gives him a mango. Take this home and tell your wife to do the vrata, where she has to fast for 1 full year, eat only once a day, do all these other japas and pujas, and then you will have an incredibly noble son after 1 year. Thrilled that he has now been able to fulfill the desire by getting this fruit, he goes home and he tells his wife Dumbikarni that you have to fast for 1 year, eat only 1 meal a day, and then eat this fruit, and we will have a very noble, beautiful son. So she immediately thinks, this is terrible. And the Bhagavatam gives in detail all the things she is thinking. The first thing she thinks is, if I don't eat because I have to fast, then I'm only going to how am I going to have energy to do all my work? And then if I get pregnant for having this child, then the labor of that pregnancy, who wants to endure so much pain? And then there's so much work in the house, and then if I have a child, there'll be more work. And so she is very unimpressed that he wants a child. And so she decides, nothing doing. He wanted the child. I have to bear the child. I'm not having the fruit. And then his sister comes. Can you all please come forward? Please come forward. Please come forward. And so fill the gaps. Please fill the gaps. Please, yeah. Yeah, please come, please come. If you don't need back support, please come forward. Her sister comes to visit. Her sister has gotten pregnant without planning to, and the sister is also telling her, I don't want this child. And so they come up with a plan that the sister will deliver her child and give the child to her. And so she doesn't have to go through the pain of pregnancy and the uncomfortableness of all of it, and she will take the sister's child. Now what to do with the fruit? She feeds the fruit to the cow because she doesn't want to have to deal with it. But it was a blessed fruit. So everything goes exactly as per plan. They figured everything out. that how will the child be fed? The sister will say, my child died, and so, but she will say, I don't have milk, and the sister has milk, so let the sister come and feed. Everything, they did such careful, beautiful planning. Everything worked out. And it all goes as per plan. The sister has the child, the sister gives the child to her, she now has this baby, only the cow gives birth at the very same time. And the cow gives birth to a human child, because that fruit was blessed. But it has cow ears, and so his name is Gokarna, which literally means cow ears. And this child is Dumbikarna, because he was born of Tumbikarni. Well, he wasn't, but they thought he was. So he is wretched. Who? Dumbikarna. Like, I don't even want to go into how horrible it is. One page of how horrible it is. And Gokarna is just the sweetest person under the sun. And then when they get older, the Durmikarna takes all the money and spends it, and then he gets involved with prostitutes, and so he takes all his father's money and spends it on the prostitute. Then he comes and he beats his parents up, because they were stopped giving him money to get the money, and then finally kicks the father out of the house when the father was very happy to go, and he remembers the sannyasi's words. What were the sannyasi's words? No happiness comes from fulfilling desire. Don't insist on your desires, better to give them up. That was the exact words, and now he's remembering it because the son has kicked him out, goes home, beats the mother up, beats her up every single day until she's so miserable she commits suicide. Then he brings 5 prostitutes and keeps them in the house, and that's how he's living. And then they make so many demands, so he keeps stealing to be able to meet all their demands, until one day the 5 of them decide, he's been able to provide for us, but eventually he's not going to be able to provide for us, and then maybe the cops will also be able to catch him, and then we will get thrown into jail, so better we also just kill him now and take all the money. And so they do. So parents were gone, and he was also killed, and now when they try to kill him, it's really horrible because he wouldn't die. So he's been, they've tried to strangle him and he didn't die. And then they tried a few other things and he didn't die. I know the story is horrible, but afterwards everything will be good. And then they put live coal into his mouth. And that's how he finally dies. Now Gokarna, and they hide his death, but Gokarna comes to know that his brother has died. And so he goes on 1-year pilgrimage and does all the pujas to pray that his brother's soul is free. Knowing what his brother has done, he's still Gokarna. Like when Santa Mahatma gives blessings, it's always a blessing. Right? And so the cow ate the mango, but the blessing still came to the family because Gokarna does the pujas for the father and for the mother, and now he's doing it for his brother. But when he comes back home, when he's sleeping once outside in the yard, a ghost keeps coming to him. And he's not scared, and he's wondering why this ghost keeps coming to him. And so he takes Ganga water and he sprinkles it on the ghost, and the ghost is his brother, and says that I have been left in this horrible state because of all the papa that I have done. Pap meaning sins. So please help me. And so Gokarna says, but I did puja for you. And he said, yes, that gave me some relief, but I did so much horrible actions that that amount of puja wasn't able to purify me, and so I'm still suffering. So then Gokarna says, but I don't know what to do. I don't know how else to help you now. Until he sits in meditation and he prays, and then the sannyasi comes and tells him, the only way to purify him now is to do a Bhagavat Sapta. And so Gokarna does all the arrangements. Where is it? It's there? And the hall is full, like this. And Dumbikarna couldn't find anywhere to sit, so he sits in a bamboo stick, which is there, because every Bhagavatam has to have the bamboo sticks. And after every canto, because bamboos have that, it broke. Each one broke. And at the end of the Bhagavatam, when the last knot of the bamboo broke, a being of light came out, and a chariot from the heaven came to take him to heaven. And everybody is watching this beam of light and the chariot coming to take him. And Gokarna says, how come there's only one chariot? Please come forward. Please make space. Please make space.
Can you go a bit forward, please?
Yep. Please come forward. Please squish. Yeah. Divi, go. Deepa, where's Deepa? Go. Come. Please come as forward as you can so we don't have to keep telling you and disturbing the class. So the chariot driver says, Bhagavatam, if you listen to it, will purify you of all sin and therefore of all suffering. But Dumbikarna, because he was in so much pain and anguish, as he was listening to the Bhagavatam, he was reflecting and thinking about it and actually letting go of false notions and delusions that were kept in his mind. And so at the end of it, he was totally purified, and so now being taken to heaven. The rest of the people listening were still checking their phones or checking out who else is here and what they're wearing, or thinking what they're going to eat for dinner after this. And so chariots haven't come for them. And then Bhagavan comes and says, because Dumbikarna did such a beautiful job in purifying himself, I'll give him a boon. And he asked, let the Bhagavat be done again. So all those who didn't get purified can listen with the right attitude, so that this time round, they too can be liberated. And so, in every Bhagavat, a bamboo stick is kept in memory of how we should be listening, with a mind that is attentive and then reflective on what's being said. Because often we'll hear things in satsang and we'll not. But not think anything more of it. And even though we've heard that in satsang and we've nodded at it, our thinking isn't in line with that thought that has been said in our scriptures. And so this is the beauty of Bhagavatam, that it promises to free us from suffering. And it's we've seen it in stories again and again. And that's why Dumbikarna's story is so horrible. Because if it can free him after he did everything he did, and if he turns his mind to Bhagwan and be cleansed, then surely we too can. That's the idea. So this is the first story of how Bhagavad came to be and how it promises to free us of suffering. Then there is another story, and so there's 3 conversations happening in the Bhagavatam. Okay? One story is of Narad Muni listening to the Bhagavatam from the Sanat Kumars. Narad Muni, we know, is a great Deva Rishi, meaning that he's never lived here on earth. He has always lived in the heavens, and he's always been a Rishi. And Naradji wandered around the whole world, and then it is said he came down here to earth, and in earth he found everybody was miserable. And I wonder if we look around, if we think that as well. Because many often people will come and tell me, everyone's happy, Swaminiji, only I'm miserable. And I'm thinking, you're right. But actually, when Narad Muniji came and he walked around the world, he said, everyone is miserable. And so he thought, where's joy left? How come when Bhagwan, and this is important, when Bhagwan made the world out of himself, and so this whole world is nothing but Bhagwan, how come everybody in it is miserable? Like, why? That doesn't make any sense. Where's the joy? And so he goes to Vrindavan. And in Vrindavan, he sees a very unusual sight. He sees a very young girl with two very old men next to them. And so he takes another look and she's crying. So he goes up to her and, what's wrong? And she says, these are my sons. Now she's very young and they very old. And so he says, who are you? And she says, I am Bhakti. And I was also old. But when we came to Vrindavan, I became young. But my sons, Jnana and Vairagya, are still old. And they've become so old now that I'm going to have to watch their death. So please, Naradji, help me. So Bhakti's sons are Jnana and Vairagya. Means if you have Bhakti, then necessarily it should give Jnana and Vairagya in our hearts. But they are old because nobody has it. Even she was old till she came to Vrindavan. And in Vrindavan, Bhakti was alive and people were still practicing Bhakti, so she became young. But in Vrindavan, nobody wanted Jnana. So Jnana stayed old. And nobody wanted Vairagya, so Vairagya stayed old. And everywhere else they went, it's the same. I wonder what would happen if they came here to Hong Kong. If Bhagavatam is here then. So, to help her, Naradji said, I'll take care of it. Then he started chanting all Veda mantra. And nothing happened. Jnana and Vairagya still didn't get any better. Then little bit he chanted the Bhagavad Gita and Then he thought, what do I do to make them better? And so he went in search of his gurus to ask this question, and Naradji's gurus are the Sanat Kumars. And so the Sanat Kumars say, we've already know what the problem is and we're already going to solve it. You have to do a Bhagavat Sapta. And when you do this, Jnana and Vairagya will once again get their strength. Yeah. And so Naradji arranges this humongous Bhagavat Sapta, and the Sanat Kumars are teaching it. And as the Sanat Kumars are teaching it, the word goes far and wide, and pretty much every Rishi and every Santa alive have come. And even ones who have been hidden in the mountains and Chiranjeevis like Markandeya come to listen to his Sapta. And the list of the Rishis is like so many, like 100 Rishis who are like so well known have come to the Sapta. And as the Sapta is going on, Krishna decides that the Sapta is so good that Krishna himself comes. And he brings Prahlad, and he brings Arjuna, and he brings all the different avatars, and he brings all the great devotees of. And so in this sapta, Krishna is sitting listening to the sapta with all the devotees, and then the Arjuna is playing the mridangam, and the Naraji is playing music, and all of them are singing, and Shukdev Maharaj is the one writing while all these great Mahatmas like Prahlad and them are actually singing the glories of the Bhagavatam. And so lost in the joy of singing, and that bhakti becomes even younger, and jnana and vairagya fully get back their form. And as the sapta is ending, Krishna is so happy with the joy and the love he is feeling in the sapta that he gives them all a boon. And everyone asks that. Every time the sapta is told, just as we have experienced you with us, may you be present in every sapta that is told, and whoever is listening be able to feel you amidst them. And so Krishna gives the boon. And so even though Bhagavatam is Krishna himself, this boon of he will be present in the hearts of all those who are listening to the sapta. Is a boon that he himself has given. And so this sapta is known that he himself will come and preside over it, which is one of the things that make it incredibly special. And as I mentioned, Krishna himself is the Bhagavatam, because the story that says that when he was alive, Uddhav came, knew that his time was up, and said, "How can you leave us?" So usually when Bhagwan takes avatar, he comes in different colors. Colors mean ability to be able to manifest, right? It's a little bit tricky term, colors. It's something like these, today's modern flowers don't have as much fragrance. But because we cut it and keep it in storage. But if you see it on the tree, then its ability to have fragrance is so much more. And then if it's an uninhibited forest and everything's totally naturally, the ability to express its beauty is just different potencies. And so kala is that potency to be able to manifest divinity. And so in a human body, maximum we can express 8 kalas. This is self-realized master who has spent their lives doing tapas and dedicated to bhakti is the highest you can reach in a human birth. And Krishna manifests with 16 colors, which is double the amount that's possible in a human birth, and it's considered the most amount that has been manifested here on this plane in Bhulok. And so every time he would come, he'd go back to unmanifest or go back to Vaikunt. In Bhagavatam, it's Bhakti Shastra, so he goes back to Vaikunt. But in the understanding of Vedanta, we know unmanifest. But when Krishna was leaving that avatar, he promises to stay in the form of Bhagavatam. And so Krishna himself became the Bhagavatam. And so anyone reading Bhagavatam already is worshipping and experiencing Krishna. But in a sapta, the potency is heightened. And so that's why sapta is given so much more value. So one conversation of the sapta is happening between Naraji and the Sanat Kumars and all that congregation. And another one is happening in that forest where they wanted to do the Mahahavan. Remember the one where the chakra stopped spinning? So Sutta is the guru there, and Sutta is teaching the whole congregation, but the one asking the questions is Shonaka, and he's saying what Sanat Kumar's taught to Narad Muni. But all of them are talking about what Shukdev Maharaj spoke about. And so we will see a little bit about Shukdev Maharaj. So, Veda Vyasa, who's more well known, who has composed the Vedas, had a son, or rather, the wife was pregnant. In those days, the rishis lived as grihasthas also. And so the wife was pregnant, and Veda Vyasa, being the great saint that he is, spent every day teaching. And teaching the Veda mantras of Sachidananda Rupaya, Vishnutpatyade Hetave. This is the mantra that we started. But all the Vedic mantras and the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita, and in the Upanishads it is says that this whole world is filled with Maya, and then we get tricked by this Maya, and then we feel sorrow and suffering. So I'll explain this a little bit more in a bit. Or maybe I'll explain it now itself. It is said in the Bhagavatam and in all our scriptures that if we are thinking about Bhagavan, we cannot have sorrow. True or false? See, this is what I said. Y'all nod. Do you have sorrow? But if you think about Bhagavan, you cannot have sorrow. So if you are saying, yes, it's true, then you know how not to have sorrow. Then why do you have sorrow? Why do you have sorrow? Because you're not thinking about Bhagavan. How can that statement be true? If you're thinking about Bhagavan, you cannot have sorrow. Yeah? It's not saying thinking about Bhagavan will make all your sorrows go away. That's not the statement. Please know that's a different statement. I think about him and pray that he will make all my sorrows go away is very different to sky is blue, grass is green. If you think about Bhagavan, you cannot have sorrow. This is statement of fact. I explain. If I'm thinking about rose, my mind takes the shape of a rose. If I'm thinking about elephant, my mind will take the shape of elephant. Okay? Or my mind will take the shape of me thinking about elephant. Okay? But if I'm really absorbed in it, it just takes the shape of elephant. Okay? If I'm thinking about Bhagavan, mind will take the shape of Bhagavan. And Bhagavan's nature is Sat, Chit, Ananda. And so my mind's shape will be Ananda. In the mind that is shaped of Ananda, can there be sorrow? The thing is, we're not thinking about Bhagavan. We're thinking about me. And so mind takes the shape of me. And in this thinking about me is small. You know, there's that beautiful story. Oh, I'll just give the analogy. Don't even have to give the story. No, I'll give the story. Student goes to the guru and says, you know, so many problems and so much heartache and I'm so stressed and how can I make it better? And then guru says, go and get a glass of water and a teaspoon of salt. And so if I get a small glass, like your shot glasses, which you all really shouldn't be having shots in, except for lemon shot. Lemon shot is allowed, good for her. So in this small glass of water, if I put that teaspoon of lemon, how salty would that water be? Or take a normal glass teaspoon, oh sorry, not lemon, salt. Teaspoon of salt. Then how salty will it be? Then the Guru takes him to the pond at the back of the ashram, and the pond is bigger than this whole room, and then takes the teaspoon of salt and puts it in the pond. Now how salty will the water be? Very, because it's a pond. Negligible amount, right? Because so much salt in such a big body of water is hardly anything. Yeah? But so much salt in a small glass is a lot. So my heartaches and my stress and my worries in my small mind is a lot. Because my mind is. And the smaller I make my mind, the more heartache I'll feel. And how do I make the mind small? Very simple. Me, 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 me. The more I think about me, the smaller I make my mind. Anyone here who's a parent already knows this. Have a kid and already there's no more just me and the kid. Now my problems are less and kids' problems very big. Because became bigger. Make mind bigger, problems become smaller. Make mind Bhagwan. In infinite, our problems are like mosquito bites. Actually, our problems are like mosquito bites. Small irritations. Not problem. They just small irritations. Yeah. When we make our mind big. And so, if I am truly thinking about Bhagwan, there is no me. And so the mind is not small. And they won't be all my sorrows. They will be the bliss and joy of Bhagwan. But when I forget Bhagwan, then there's me. And me will 100% have problems and sorrows. Yeah. And if I'm thinking only of me and my problems and my sorrows, then life is so difficult. But if I'm thinking about Bhagwan, the problems and difficulties are still there. But now, they manageable. The problems won't go away. They just become manageable. Yeah. Pinpricks, mosquito bites. So, who was saying this? Sutta was saying this. About everything was, Shukdev Maharaj was in his mother's womb and he was listening to Veda Vyasa teach that if you forget Bhagwan, then all sorrows start. If you remember Bhagwan, no problems can be there. When you come out of the womb, you forget and Maya catches you. This is interesting to note. This is why pregnant women glow. Why? Because the baby in the womb hasn't been caught by Maya yet. And so they're remembering Bhagwan. The minute baby comes out of the womb, Maya's waiting. Catch. Actually, not so quickly also. Usually around 18 months. Usually the first year, they still have that innocence and sweetness, right? And so this baby in the womb didn't come out. 9 months over, didn't come out. 10 months over, didn't come out. 11 months over, didn't come out. 1 year over, and the baby didn't come out. Now, there's many women in this room, and they will tell you already by 8 months, they're very uncomfortable. Imagine 12 months, this baby hasn't come out. This woman is so distraught, and her husband is Veda Vyasa, and she tells Veda Vyasa, do something. My body cannot take this anymore. It's not even me saying, it's physically the body cannot take this anymore. And so Vedavyasa uses his siddhis and goes into the womb and tells his son, please come out, your mother is most uncomfortable. And the son says, no, I'm not coming out. And he says, but why? Because if I come out, then Maya will catch me. And then, where did you hear this from? From you, father. Full day you are teaching all your students about how Maya catches you and then gives so much delusions and sorrow, and I don't want to come out into this world of delusions and sorrow, so I'm staying in the womb where Maya cannot touch me. So then there's two versions of the story, because the Bhagavatam is written in many places and the story also comes in many places. Version one of the story is that Vedavyasa tells baby in the womb, I give you a boon and a promise that Maya will not catch you, so please come out. And so he says no. Why? Because you are not in charge of Maya. So how can you give me such a boon? And so Vedavyasa has to go to Dwarka, find Sri Krishna and beg Sri Krishna to give the baby the boon. And Krishna does. Krishna tells, I release you and Maya will never touch you. And so the baby is born straight, able to walk, and leaves the house the day it's born. And as the baby is walking out of the house, Vedavyasa is, my son, where are you going? And the reply doesn't come. But because Maya hasn't touched him and he is one with the entire creation, the trees answer on his behalf. He is not your son. For Maya hasn't touched him. He belongs to all of infinity. The second version, I'm sorry. When he's in the womb and Krishna gives the boon and he bows down and thanks Krishna, Krishna says, your voice is so sweet, and names him Shuka. And which is why in the Bhagavatam we also always have a parrot, because Shuka means parrot. That's one of the stories of how he got the name. The second story is that while in the womb, Vedavyasa promises that he will not be touched by Maya, and actually Vedavyasa has the power to give that boon, because he's also a Chiranjeevi and a self-indulgent. He's also called Bhagwan. We also call Vedavyasa Bhagwan because all Vedas are in him, and he's still alive till today. He's one of the Chiranjeevis who help to keep this knowledge alive for all of time. And so Shuka comes out and he's leaving the house. And instead of saying, why are you leaving? Vedavyasa says, you're leaving without listening to the stories of the most enchanting person of the universe. And he stops at the door, intrigued. You may have heard all the Vedas while you were in your mother's stomach from me, but you didn't hear the stories of how he steals away our minds and our hearts and our sorrows. And so he turns around. That love that the gopis have that are immortal, that love that Mirabai has, that she sings on the streets, that love that Suradas had, that even though he was blind he could see, that love that Santa Mahatma have, that their hearts beat to the rhythm of only Krishna. And Shuka sits down and says, tell me this story. And Vyasa says, only if you promise to listen so that you can repeat every word. And he said, just like a parrot? And Vedavyasa said, yes, just like a parrot. You will repeat every word and keep these stories alive. And so the Bhagavatam has been entrusted to Shukdev Maharaj. Not even Vedavyasa kept the privilege of being the guru of the Bhagavatam, because there's this beautiful incident of Vedavyasa also had written all the Vedas, he had written all the Puranas, and he was still feeling very restless that he hadn't done enough. By then, Shuka had already been born, and Shuka was wandering around. He never stays anywhere long. He's the truest sense of sannyas ever. He never enters a house. He never asked for bhiksha. He only drank from the cow directly and only a few sips and never interacted, didn't speak to hardly anyone. Shukdev Maharaj's life is phenomenally pure. And while walking, he passes Vrindavan where the gopis are bathing in the river Yamuna. And all of them come out of the river and bow down to him. And he continues. Vedavyasa, looking for Shukdev, also passes the river Yamuna where all the gopis are bathing. And they all take their clothes and they cover themselves. And he says, but just now Shuka walked past and y'all didn't cover yourselves. And the gopis were no ordinary beings, right? They were also great santa, great rishis. And they said, when he can't see his own body, what will he look at ours? And you know, it's true. There's the tribe of Naga Babas still today. Of course, today it's very popular and tourist attraction. But if you meet someone who's truly from this tribe, you feel nothing when you're looking at them. You don't feel like, oh, this is a Naga Baba. You don't have to take photo and you don't. In fact, your mind will be quiet. And you will want to bow down because there's no body consciousness. They're not wearing, they don't wear clothes because the body just doesn't occur to them. That's what makes them worshipable and respectable. That sense of body consciousness is just not there. And Shukdev Maharaj, just total embodiment of it. And so Vedavyasa realizing that purity that is there in Shukdev, just so specially his, and the Bhagavatam being so sacred and so special, is therefore entrusted to him as the keeper of the Bhagavatam. And the stories are not just stories, they Vedant. All of the Bhagavatam is the highest philosophy, but it's described in the Bhagavatam itself as, if you eat fruit, it's very, very healthy for you and tasty. Yeah? But if you drink the juice, it's more flavorful and it's easy. You don't no effort required in just drinking the juice. And so all that knowledge of the Vedas and Vedanta is put into the Bhagavatam, but as juice, rasa. There's only rasa in the Bhagavatam. So we have Sutta talking to all the rishis in the forest, telling the story of what Shukdev Maharaj told, and we have Narad Muni listening from the Sanat Kumars, and that sapta also they refer to Shukdev. Shukdev Maharaj is there in that sapta as well. But the main story of the Bhagavatam is the story of King Parikshit, which we'll do in a bit. Before that, we're going to talk about the Bhagavatam was written by Vedavyasa to bring bhakti alive. And so in the Vedic culture, you won't see much of bhakti. And they worshipped the elements and they studied Vedanta. Yeah. But Vedavyasa, being a visionary, already saw into the future, already saw that our minds are not going to be as potent. Because we asked ChatGPT to tell us how to write our emails, how to write birthday card to our dads. We ask Google for alternative spellings, for ideas, and we don't use our brains. Or have that resilience. And so, bhakti is something we can hold on to, even if the mind is not very strong. And the beauty about bhakti is if we truly hold on to it, it will make our minds strong. Yeah. And so, as I already mentioned, bhakti's sons are jnana and vairagya. And so bhakti is not complete until we have jnana and vairagya as well. And sometimes you'll see in people or families where it's very much the bhakti is there, and then they know so many stories about it. Sometimes I'll start the story and then they'll rattle it off. And if I ever forget a name already, they know the name. And then sometimes they know far more about the story than I did. Because when there's love, we find out so much about the thing we love, right? Love necessarily will lead to more knowledge. Okay? If you think about anything, we love food. Maybe we don't like cooking it, but we like eating it. Then we'll find out where the good restaurants are. Okay? And then we'll go visit those restaurants. Or if we are interested in it, like during COVID when you couldn't go to restaurants, then suddenly everyone started experimenting on how to cook it at home. If we love something, necessarily we will learn about it. Oh, Gurudev used to give the example of boy falling in love with girl, girl falling in love with boy. See them across the crowded room, that one. Then find out who they are, what they like, where they live, how to speak to them, right? Love will lead to, of course that's not love, but love will lead to knowledge. And the more we love something, the more invested we are in understanding it. And how does love lead to vairagya? Here we have to understand what vairagya is. Vairagya gets translated to mean detachment, and so most people don't like it because instinct is to collect and get attached. And then you tell me to detach? No. Just like Atma Dev told the Santa Mahatma, no, I will not give up my desire. And we the same. We don't want to give up our desires. Even though our desires are hurting us, we don't want to give up our desires. And so most people don't like this word vairagya. I remember when I first got posted here to Hong Kong, in one of the very first classes I took for adults, because when I first got posted here, I took lots of kids' classes. And I spoke something about vairagya only, and then they got very angry with me. And after that, there were lots of complaints. And so when Swamiji came, then Swamiji said, "What did you say?" I said, the students should have Vivek and Vairagya. And he said, oh, why you told them to have Vairagya? That's why they got angry with you. Never tell Grahasthas to have Vairagya. 20 years later, I'm telling you all to have Vairagya. But I'm listening to my Guru. I'll explain why. When I love someone, and I love them for my sake, then I get scared that they're going to leave, or they won't love me back as much as I love them, or they won't listen to me and do as I want them to do. All of us experience this? But if I love them, and they can do whatever they want to do, they can be whoever they want to be, then I'm not scared. If they don't love me back, it's okay. No, it's not. It really is. It really is okay. Then who'll love me? Actually, even now, there's only one person that really loves you. You'll say, no, I just had 50th birthday, so many people came. They said such nice things about me. They love me only. Maybe. Maybe you're blessed. Maybe many, many, many people love you. But at night, when you put your head on your pillow and you're worried about something, who's there with you? All those people that praised you at the party? You're alone, right? Even if your spouse truly, truly is the best spouse in this planet and loves you so much, when your head is on your pillow, eyes closed, you have to go to sleep facing your own self, nobody else is there. Doesn't matter how much they love you. Nobody else is there. It's just you with your own mind. All of us are alone. Except all of us with head on the pillow have him, because he's inside. He's inside. And so he's there. And nobody else will listen, but he's listening even if you don't want him to listen. Understands better than anyone else can, understands better than we ourselves understand. And the Bhagavatam says so beautifully, when you want something in the world, let's say something simple like water only, let's not be fancy and be Chanel. I want water. Okay, and let's say the glass of water wasn't here, or even the glass of water is here. Water doesn't know I want it. Does water know I want it? I want money. Does money know I want it? Yeah. I want to be thin, I want to be successful, I want to be famous, I want to be powerful, I want to be popular, I want to... Those things don't know I exist. But if I want Krishna, he knows. He knows you want him. Water won't just come to me. But when I want Krishna, I won't have to go. He will come to me because he already knows I want. And in fact, there's times when I'm really thirsty and water comes. Who brought it? Water didn't come on its own. I didn't bring it. We've all experienced this. We've desperately wanted something and it just comes. Who brings it? Because only he knows. Sometimes even I don't know I need it or want it. But he knows. When I love you and I want something, I don't enjoy the love. I don't enjoy the love. Because I want something and I'm scared of losing it. But when I have vairagya and I love you, I enjoy love. When I don't have vairagya and I love you, I'm busy thinking about what I want. I'm busy worrying about not getting it. Or I'm busy worrying about losing it once I got it. I'm miserable. With Vairagya, I'm enjoying love. Love is fullness. Love is joy itself. Love is truth. Yeah. Then I have everything. Yeah. But when I want something, even though I have so many things, I'm only thinking about the thing I don't have. That's what want does. Want makes us single-pointed on the thing I don't have. And so remember, small mind. And in small mind, problems are big. But when I have Vairagya, that want becomes small. And love becomes, and then I'm full because love becomes big. My problems become pinpricks, mosquito bites. Our problems are mosquito bites. Y'all telling me no, they're not? I can hear y'all thinking it. If we listen with faith, your problems will become small only. This is the promise that Krishna gives us in the Bhagavatam. So jnana is a result of bhakti, and vairagya is a result of bhakti. Because raga means holding on. Vairagya means not that I let it go, but I don't hold on. The best example is, I'm going to smudge my glasses. Okay, I do it this way. This is raga, right? You can see? Yeah? This is Vairagya. Such a small difference, right? Did I lose the glasses? It's still there. Raga, I knew I was going to smudge it. I hold it like this. Then it's going to go, huh? I promise you, whatever you have, at some point will go, because life itself only will go. Then I'm holding like this, then it has to be. But hold it like this. When it has to go, it goes. And then whatever else has to come will come. Because it won't stay empty. Nothing ever stays empty. You try your mind. Empty it. Won't stay empty. Bhakti will make me hold it like this, because the only thing I need to hold is Him. And after a while I'll realize I don't hold Him. Foolish me, He is holding me. So what do I have to hold? Nothing. Bhakti will lead to Vairagya. He's holding me. What will I hold and do then? It's like, standing on the train in India, and then you have that big bag and then they hold it on their head. I'm sure you've heard this story before. And then the guy comes and says, put it down. No, you have to pay extra if you're carrying a bag, so I'll keep it on my head. Our thinking is ajib. Why we have to hold it? The train is holding everything. He is holding everything. We don't have to hold anything. Vairagya. The more we love Him, the more we will get Vairagya. The more we love Him, the more wise we become. Really. Because remember, when I think about something, my mind takes that shape. When I think about Him, He is Sat. Sat means Chit. Chit means so many things. Sat also means so many things. Chit means knowledge, wisdom. And so if I truly keep him in my heart, mind also becomes wise. Because all virtues also come, and when there's virtues in us, wisdom can be held. Without virtues in us, wisdom cannot be held. It comes and it slips away. And that's what we see today. We live in this age where you Google something and then you know it for 3 seconds. It slips away. Or even somebody tells us something really amazing and we hold it in it slips away. When we need it at that moment, we don't remember it. Wisdom is when it's held, and it can only be held when all the virtues come, and all the virtues' foundation is love. So, Bhagavatam is a treatise of bhakti. But that doesn't mean it doesn't have incredible, profound wisdom, and it will awaken in our hearts Vairagya. Because remember, the story is for Jnana and Vairagya to be healed. Bhakti only thrives when Jnana and Vairagya is healed. So we promised you all a break, which is an unusual thing. We're going to see today how it works, giving you all a 10-minute break. And then we will continue. But we can sing. And if y'all want to just sit and sing, y'all sit and sing. If y'all need to have a break, this is the 10-minute break. There are refreshments inside if you would like to go and have them. Start. Krishna Govinda